call to order the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee meeting. Having a chance to review the minutes to the meeting, I move for acceptance of the minutes.
If you can, let's do the roll call.
Oh, sure.
Yep. Who's chair? Is it your chair? Yep. Chris's chair. Okay, so we can just go call the order at 6. I got 6:38 call to order, and then take a roll call, please.
Christopher Davenport.
Here.
Keitha Davenport, here.
Ramji Ramachandran.
Alina Rogers.
Jason Holscher.
Oh. States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Honor that Texas
Flag. Pledge allegiance.
Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Do we have any public comments at this time? Okay. Okay, I move for acceptance of the agenda items.
I second.
Okay, the agenda items has been accepted.
So we have a vote. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Unanimous.
All right.
Now we go to the regular thing.
Yeah, so we're moving on to the regular agenda items. Agenda item A is to update, review the scope of duties of the board.
Sorry?
It's in the report. Yeah. Is it in the report?
Okay. Good evening, all. And it's very nice to see you all again. We were here in May of last year when we did one of these reports, and now we're here to provide you an update on the water and wastewater impact fee. So I'll go through the impact fee basics because it's been a little while. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me and ask questions. And so we'll provide a basic on impact fee and also what was included in the last impact fee study, which was done in 2021. And the very last 3 slides are actually the report, and you should have received a report copy as well, very short report that provides the updates and also provides some language on what is included in this report. So we'll start with what's impact fee. Impact fees are one-time charges that is assessed for new developments, so they can pay the portion of their share for new infrastructure and growth. So impact fees, without impact fees, your existing and future ratepayers would be paying for all of the capital improvements that's happening within the city. And when you have impact fee, growth basically gets an opportunity to pay for growth. So your ratepayer rates will get compensated based off that. Impact fees are governed by Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 395, and are required to update every 5 years. So when we were here at the last meeting, you all suggested that based on the data you've been seeing, that impact fees for Manvel get updated before that 5-year deadline and within 4 years. So city staff took that recommendation to council, and council actually included that in the budget. So we will work towards doing a water wastewater impact fee update in the this year. Hopefully that will go through council very soon. So going into what is included in can be charged for impact fee and what cannot. So for all things that are in the green, those are impact fee eligible, and things that are in red in this slide are not. If it's a capital improvement project that will serve growth in the next 10 years, which is the impact fee period, it's impact fee eligible. And it's a construction cost for that project, design, survey, engineering, and also financing costs that will go towards that project. But if a project is only serving existing developments or is a rehabilitation project, fixing some existing issues, or is some financing cost that's not related to a project that is impact fee eligible, that was identified in the study, that's not impact, that we cannot pay towards that project with impact fee money. So as the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee, during an impact fee update study process, which we will go into very soon, your role is to provide input on the land use assumptions and the CIP projects that have been selected towards the impact fee study. And provide...
The impact fees also, that's a one-time thing, right? It's not an ongoing, it's not an annual, it's not for existing customers, it's a one-time when you cause the impact to the system, just to say
Yeah,
that.
thank you for adding that, Dan, yes. So going back to CIAC's role, and once you receive, during the study, once you receive the update from the study report, you'll provide your written comments to the council, and the council will take that into consideration when, as they go towards the adoption of the impact fee process. And after an impact fee is adopted, this is really the role that you're playing right now. Part of the Texas Local Government Code, we're required to provide you an update, two updates a year, and based on that update, if it seems to be you that the land use assumption or the CIP needs to be updated, you have an opportunity to provide that recommendation to council, which is what you did last time. So this is this slide is showing two maps. The one to the left is the impact fee service area for water and wastewater that was included in the 2021 study. And the map to the right is showing all of the developments that we knew of at that time. Those were anticipated. Many of those have happening already, and that were included in the impact fee calculations. So using those known developments, the impact fee service units are calculated. And then the other part of it is the capital improvement projects. So this slide is showing all the water projects that went into the impact fee study in 2021. So there were the projects that are shown in blue in the list were all future proposed projects at that time. And if it's shown in orange, those were ongoing studies or projects. Many of those blue projects have either been completed or under progress. In the few minutes, I'll give you an update on that. This slide is showing the projects that were wastewater projects and included in the impact fee study. Again, most of these projects are in progress or under construction. Using the land use assumption that I just showed and the CIP projects, the impact fees were calculated for each service unit. So in Manvel's case, the unit meter is a 3/4 inch meter, and as you go up in meter size, basically the impact fee gets multiplied by the service unit equivalency numbers that's shown in this table. So this is the schedule that's for the impact fee that got adopted. Yeah, go ahead.
Add to that one too. So the idea there is that the bigger the water meter, the more usage you could have, the bigger of an impact it is to the system. So that's why the impact fee increases with the size of the meter. So most single-family residential homes are going to pay the same amount of impact fees when they're brand new. So like Valencia that's coming in right now, they pay impact fees towards the system. A commercial development though is that number could be much, much bigger depending on how big their meter is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that. And then
Can I follow up just to Dan on that one? The impact fee to the developers it's not a one-time fee to the developer, it's per lot, correct? Or is that?
It's per connection. So for every meter, whatever size that meter is, yes, they only pay it one time. But so like, say for instance, Valencia, if it's section 3 and it's 37 homes, well then all 37 homes would pay that impact fee.
Right, the 1 inch, because they're typically a 1 inch line for new construction, and so you're looking at that same fee across the board
Right.
for each lot that developer is purchasing.
And so it's assessed, this is probably too much detail, but it's assessed when the plat is recorded and then actually collected at the time that the building permit comes in. Some developers, like Valencia actually, they like to pay for the whole subdivision, for that whole section up front, which is fine. I mean, obviously, the sooner we get it and get the money to start working for us, then that's fine. It's acceptable to do that. But you certainly can't get past that point without paying your impact fees.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason we would say one time is because it's not an annual fee. For each lot, you just pay it once and you're done.
Sure. Can I'm jotting down questions, and I don't know if you'd rather me wait until the end of all of it, or just
Yeah, I think we
keep
can ask now.
interrupting you as you go. Based on these fees that we're looking at that were adopted 3 years ago, 2.5, what's your opinion of these? Should they be higher than what they are? Should they be lower than what they are? And then what do you see for other cities that you guys are doing these same studies for?
So every time we have completed an impact fee and few years have passed, because the cost of construction and material goes up, by this time, yes, they are lower than what you need to continue construction. And also, during the adoption, again, going into more details, Texas local government code allows a 50% credit method to be utilized during impact fee calculation. So basically, or doing a credit analysis. In this case, 50% credit method was used. So basically, a calculation that would, all of the cost that is required for growth, we took all of that, we took all the growth, and then calculated impact fee was basically cut in half. So these are not going to go towards, not going to be enough to pay for all of the growth-related projects, like half of that. So in terms of that, yes, it is lower than what you need to pay for your projects. So, and the rest of it gets compensated by rates.
What is the term? What is the time limit? When are they able to be adjusted, if they are?
Yeah, and so that's what Ashita was mentioning. So, and actually, Jason, you were the one that mentioned, hey, I know we're not due until 2026, but it sounds like we need to do these sooner. And so we heard you and put that and recommended it to council, and it actually included an update a year early. So it's actually in our budget this year to go ahead and update the impact fees this year. Because, like Ashita just said, the actual number, so we'll just make it easy. So it's what, $9,540, we'll just say $10,000 is what's adopted. But the actual calculation is actually $20,000 per connection. So somehow or another, the city is having to subsidize the other half, because the projects cost what they cost, Right. So we're collecting half of it from impact fees. The other half has to come from water and sewer rates, property tax, wherever else it can come from. But the project still costs what it costs. So it'll be interesting to see what, because council, like Ashita said, council elected to do the 50% in 2021. They had a lot of discussion about it. And there was one developer that was very passionate. Hey, if you have a $20,000 impact fee, development will stop. That nobody will ever build anything. Maybe, we don't know. But a couple of the council members, one of them's in the room right now, former council members. He made the point. Well, if you were putting your own well and septic on a lot, you're going to spend every bit of $20,000 for a well and septic system. So it makes sense. These aren't just made up numbers. I mean, there's obviously justification to get to the calculations, and it's pretty easy. Here are the projects that we need to do in the next 10 years, and here's the number of people that we think are going to come. It's literally just numerator divided by denominator, and so it's the impact to be spread upon the people that are impacting it, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
The wells and septics are going to have maintenance that also includes.
Absolutely.
That's not factored into that 20 grand.
Absolutely.
Eat up front.
So we don't know yet what the new impact fee will be. We're working on, Friesen Nichols is working on a proposal for us for right now. And not to jump it, well, I guess we can. So all of this is water and sewer impact fees that we've been talking about. There are other impact fees that she's going to talk to you about here in a little bit that we've not collected, that we've not assessed because we don't have a study for it. Wanted to see what y'all's temperature is like on these other types of impact fees as essentially revenue streams.
Yeah, like per the Texas Local Government Code, you can also have roadway impact fee and stormwater impact fee. So all of these accounts are separate. The impact fee you collect for water goes towards water projects. The impact fee you collect for roadway goes towards roadway projects. But all of the impact fees have to go through the process of the study and your opinion and council's opinion and a formal adoption before anything can be collected by the city.
What is the cost to conduct the study?
So that's what we are preparing right now. The cost towards conducting the water wastewater study was somewhere around $150,000, but then we're going to add roadway and stormwater in it. So we're going to present that information and the scope to the city and get their opinion that if this is what they want to include, and then we'll adjust it accordingly on the scope items. So there's the process that is very standard for all of the projects, but we can go through add additional reports or additional meetings or mapping or coming up with some capital improvement project recommendations as well if some of the older roadway or stormwater studies are older.
Dan, the bigger meter sizes that are going in, obviously that's going to be more commercial projects. What's the average commercial project meter size?
Probably 2-inch or 3-inch.
Who's doing 10-inch water meters?
We haven't had any that big.
What's the biggest we've done, do you know?
We've had an 8-inch, but so typically we don't see them that large unless, like an apartment complex, you'd probably see something that large. An industrial developer, so one of the things that we require is a looped system. So say like a Manvel Town Center, HEB and all that kind of good stuff. So we require a loop throughout that system to where if something happened and there was a bust or something, we can shut that off and feed it from another side, right? Same thing with an apartment complex. Same thing with like I think Easy Line is the one that comes to mind. Some industrial folks, they've got on-site fire hydrants, they've got a loop maybe, but they've got proprietary stuff. They don't want you getting behind their gate. So they may want to make their stuff private. That's fine, but if that's the case, then we're going to have you put a meter on it. That's just sort of that's the give and take. So whenever they see that, yeah, well, that's what we want to do it private, and then they see how much an 8-inch meter costs. Never mind, we'll give you an easement because it's expensive. But it does happen every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. And you also asked about what we see in other cities. So cities like yours that are growing very fast would require a lot of new infrastructure projects. So those cities would see a higher impact fee compared to some city that is already very built out and probably do not need a lot of infrastructure or a lot of growth.
And if you see in the table, if you see that second column, there's a service unit equivalent, because if you notice that it's not a linear increase. When you get up to an 8-inch line, it's more like almost an exponential increase, because an 8-inch meter is basically the equivalent of 64 homes. Is that the number?
Yes.
Of 64 homes. So that's 64 times that $10,000. So that's kind of how you get there. Is that oversimplifying, or is that okay?
No, that is exactly right.
So we call ourselves a city on the rise. We're clearly doing a lot of development. And you mentioned that it's areas where you're going to have more growth, that you're seeing higher impact fees. Mm-hmm. Using that 3/4-inch meter size or the 1-inch, whichever one, what are you seeing as the average impact fee across the board for cities that have a lot of growth currently happening? Mm-hmm.
So it also depends on the size of the city and also what impact fee method has been used in the calculation. We have seen $28,000 of impact fees as well when the credit analysis method has been done, like the and the credit is pretty low because there has not been a lot of past projects. But there's a lot of future projects coming up. So basically, the CIP number that's on that's getting divided by the growth is very, very high. So you're resulting in a higher impact fee.
So what do you think the percentage should be in our situation, in your opinion?
Percentage for the,
Say, because we're at that 50% rate right now, where we're cutting our legs off halfway up.
yeah, so if you take the max allowable without the 50%, like that would cover your, basically all share of your growth towards the projects. And then your rates will not have to go up. So yeah, if it's higher, it helps towards the projects and the city collecting more money. But the code allows 50%, so it's very fair and to do that as well.
Okay. Dan, the individuals who are building a house on acreage, are they paying the same impact fee when they buy a meter, or is this developers only?
No, it's the same. If they're connecting to city water, yeah. If they're putting in a water well, then
Right.
of course we don't make them pay impact fees. And if they had, there's, it doesn't happen too often, but sometimes maybe they had a residential meter, and things have timed out, and it was never zoned for residential. It's actually zoned for commercial, and so the home is going away, and now it's going to be a commercial business. Basically, there's a credit of that 1 inch, so they don't pay a full 2 inch or 3 inch or whatever. They basically pay the delta. They get credit because they're only impacting above and beyond what was already there. Does that make sense?
Is there a way to reasonably add the cost for the study back to the developer?
Yes, actually, the cost of the study is also impact fee eligible project.
Yep.
So that was included last time and would be included again.
I think actually more than one, right? The one that's done, and then the one in 5 years, and then the one, so I think there's at least two that are included in those projects,
10-year period.
the capital improvement projects.
Okay.
Any other questions on this slide? Okay. So I'm glad you asked all the background questions already. So we are at this updates summary. So this slide is showing you the fund activity in the water and wastewater impact fee accounts. There's information on the beginning balance in each fiscal year, what interest income that account has earned, what water and wastewater impact fee revenue the city has collected from new growth, and the very last row is showing the amount that's been transferred from the impact fee account to the CIP fund, so it can be paid towards those impact fee eligible projects. Thanks to Rosie for sending us all of this information. Any questions on this?
I guess what I could say on this, so this is important. We have to keep track of this. It's a separate fund, right, Rosie? Because we can only use the impact fees that we collect on impact fee eligible projects. So we can't just collect it and then decide to go build a park. If y'all were listening to the presentation before this, we have to use it on those impact fee projects. And basically that's the purpose of this group, is sort of the internal audit to make sure that that's staying on track. Yeah, thank you, Bobby.
Okay, so going towards the update on water impact fee eligible projects. So two of the impact fee eligible projects that were included in the most recent study have been completed. One of them is the study itself, as you asked. And then 6 projects are under construction, in progress right now, and they're either under design or under construction. So since last time, we have added some additional latest estimate of project cost, because more information is available now, and some of these projects have been partially completed. So same information on the wastewater side. Again, we have added the latest estimate of the project cost for each of these projects, and this city, or in some cases, the developer is contributing and making progress on this project.
And Chris, to your question earlier, see if you notice on the water table, Project A, that was one of the updates, and then projects 15 and 16, those are the updates.
Okay.
So that's all the slides we had, and the information. Any other questions that you have?
What is the action item that we need to carry to council?
So it is,
Or maybe that's a Bobby question.
yeah,
Let's listen on the agenda.
All right. All right. All right, so I move for acceptance of the regular agenda item A, which is to update review of the scope of duties of the board. Can I get a second?
That was just the report. That doesn't need a motion.
Oh, we don't need a motion. Okay, sorry.
You go to B now, which is consideration and possible action to approve the semi-annual capital improvement plan report and forward it with favorable recommendation to city council. So that's why if you would entertain a motion to approve the semi-annual capital improvement plan report and forward with favorable recommendation to city, a motion to approve that and second, and then you could vote on the B.
What he said, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we can move on to regular agenda item B, which is to consideration and possible action to approve the semi-annual capital improvement plan report and forward with a favorable recommendation to the city council. Yeah, so I'm looking for a motion to approve that consideration. Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
So you made the motion then?
Yeah.
You made the motion,
Yeah. Yeah, I did
All in
it.
favor?
All in favor?
Approved.
All opposed?
Passes unanimously.
All right, motion passed.
So the last item is for consideration and possible action to set the future meeting dates. So like Ashita mentioned, we need to do this semi-annually. I guess it's not necessarily every 6 months, but it's twice a year is the moral to the story. So, probably, I guess we can talk about when would be a good month, maybe not necessarily a day, but if we could pick a good month, I would recommend that after we get the proposal and perhaps after council, decides to go ahead and move forward with the updated impact fee study, once we have some information, that'd probably be a good time. So what do you think, Ishita? Maybe July or something like that, maybe? June or July? Something like that sound good to y'all?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right in the middle of summer. Does that affect anybody's travel schedules or anything like that with kids? Is it easier to do it when kids are back in school? We're more homebound? Just something to factor in.
And it could be August as well, after the summer, that's fine. And most likely what will happen is, I don't know if we'll actually have the action on this other than just that we're going to have another meeting this year is the moral to the story. And so Tammy will probably reach out to each one of y'all and try and figure out what night works for everybody, if that's okay. Do we have to have an action item on that, Bobby, tonight? To actually set the date?
Well, usually the chair, Tammy, can figure that out.
Yeah.
But it's good to get input, and we'll note this for the minutes that anticipated the next meeting will be around July if possible. Something like that.
I'm fine with July personally, if y'all are.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Perfect.
Dan, I have a question. If somebody lives on, their own land, they have their own well and septic, and the city's putting in water, what happens to their well? Do they get the option to keep it or
They do? Yep.
or go with the city, or are they forced to go with the city?
That's a great question, Alina. So some cities have that requirement that if you're within X number of feet, you have to connect. That idea has been proposed to council by myself years ago and sort of famously fell very, very flat because at that particular time, most of council was on well and septic, and they're like, hey, you're not going to make me connect to this thing. So I don't know if that's something our council will ever require.
Okay.
It's not a requirement now.
Okay.
if, say, you lived on Large or Lewis and you've had a well all this time, what we'll let you do is you can keep the well if you want to connect to city water, but you can keep your well for irrigation and those kind of things. But what you can't do is connect it back to our system, because that's a big no-no. Like, you can't loop it
Oh,
in
you
or
can't
anything.
mix it. Right. That
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as that's not happening, then it's okay to use it. And, there's nothing wrong with that to use it for your irrigation and all those kind of good things.
What is the fee now? Like, if someone's building a house and they have to connect, what's their individual impact fee?
Well, it would be the numbers that we were talking about, roughly $10,000 for
Okay.
water and sewer.
So the same, okay.
Now, what we've tried to do, sort of administratively, that if they connect, say like Lewis Avenue, so we're running a new sewer line down that road right now, and if someone wanted to connect to it, if they connect to it while we're there as part of the project, then we haven't charged them impact fees. If they do it now. Now, if they wait a year, then you're probably going to have to pay the impact fees. But it makes sense, if you're going to do it now while we've got contractors out there and everything. Now, you still have to pay a plumber to connect, your old, pretend like if it's sewer.
Right.
And you were going to a septic system, where you're going to have to get your plumber to come out and disconnect that and connect it to the city line, because we can't work on somebody's private property, but we can
Right.
get it stubbed out and ready for you, so that all you got to do is plug in.
Is there a fee for that? Or you're saying if you're already out there?
If we're doing it as a capital project,
Okay.
then there hasn't been an impact fee associated with that. There'd be, you'd have to pay your plumber.
Right.
And
Just to run it from the
guess there's a-
property to the city side?
Yeah, and I think
Plumber's probably
there's a-
going to have to pull a permit. 'cause
You have to
there's
pull a
gonna have to be
permit.
Some sort of inspection for that.
Right.
And for the length of line, depending on where your house is set, can you get enough fall to even make it make
Right.
sense?
Okay.
There's a lot of.
there are. It depends on how far off the road you are. And, obviously, we try and put sanitary sewer as deep as we possibly can for that very reason, so that you've got, so that people can connect to it. Because if people aren't connecting to it, then it doesn't really do us
Right.
any good.
Where are they going in right now on Lewis?
Well, so there's an old sort of a lift station. We always called it the Simmer Hansel lift station. It's actually on McCoy, and it
Okay.
really just serves the small little mobile home park right there.
Yeah.
So we're trying to abandon that lift station and turn that into sanitary sewer. So it'll be gravity from McCoy all the way to Palmetto. So
Oh,
right in front of
okay.
Terra Estates, there's
Oh,
a spot
okay.
to tie into.
So it won't cross over?
No, I
Okay.
see where you're going. No,
Yeah.
no, not quite yet.
Just curious.
Well, and the tricky part for y'all on that part of Lewis is, you're right next to the C1 ditch,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm not sure how we get underneath that thing with gravity. So
Oh,
that's why there's always been that lift station.
We're good with septic. We're good.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. The options,
Sure, of course.
Thanks. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
You good?
You're just looking for a motion to adjourn.
Okay, yeah. Yes, so there being no further business, I'll bring it to the board. I moved to have a motion to adjourn. Do I get a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?